Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Third Coast Reptile right here on YouTube. On today's video, we are going to revisit the pink belly side necks. It is time to give them an upgrade. You guys remember around Thanksgiving, the previous enclosure sprung a leak. We had to put them in a 29-gallon aquarium, which has worked fantastic until now. Now it's time for them, because they've outgrown that enclosure, to get an upgrade. So that's what we're going to do today on this episode of Third Coast Reptile. Hey guys, hold up. I need your help real quick before we get into today's video. Did you know that of everybody watching this video, this one right here, 84% of you guys have yet to subscribe to the channel? Do me a favor, hit the subscription button, and if you hit the notification bell, it'll let you guys know when new content arrives. And if you hit the like button on the videos you actually like, I'll make more of those. And that'll make you happy, it makes me happy, everybody be happy, you know? Alright, let's get back to the video. Alright guys, so this is the enclosure that they're currently in. This is 29-gallon. You can see the water's getting really low in here because the light's so bright. They also don't have a basking area here, which the old one broke, so it's time to get them something a little more suitable for them. They're just ready for an upgrade here. So I wanted to show you guys the before image here. I'm really crouched down in this tight spot to show you guys, but this is what we're working with here previously. So we're going to set them up in a Rubbermaide 50-gallon here that I'm going to show you right now. Alright guys, so this is the upgraded enclosure we're going to be using for those pink belly side necks. Now this, again, this is a huge footprint for them, really nice and big, and I think this is going to do exceptionally well for them. We're going to put a basking area in here, and I'm going to get real creative with it, but for now, let's go ahead and make room for this in their new enclosure. Okay guys, we now have the new area in place. This is their new 50-gallon home. The basking light's already kind of set up from the old enclosure. I'm going to show you a little closer here. Check this out. Go like that. Okay. So you guys can see it's a big footprint. I mean, this is going to be really nice for them. And of course, the sulcata, Apollo, he's really interested in what's going on. But guys, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some substrate in here and then get everything kind of set up. My goal here is under this basking light is to have sort of a pile of rocks that come up just above the water for them to come up on bask on and create sort of a natural sight barrier, because you know how I love sight barriers. So let's get that substrate in. And guys, just like that, all the sand is in. I used 50 pounds of play sand. Now I'm going to show you a really cool trick when it comes to introducing water into the enclosure, so that way your water doesn't get all foggy. Alright guys, remember when you grab that bag for your sand, hang on to it because it's crucial for this next step. Alright, we have our hose set up here to go into the substrate, but if you let it go just like that, the water in, it's going to disturb all of the sand down here and make the water really cloudy. So you take your bag, set it down on top of the dirt just like that, and then we'll turn the water on here. But guys, before we do that, it's time for okay guys, for today's fact or fiction, did you know that all UVB bulbs are the exact same? Is that fact or fiction? Okay guys, the answer is fiction. When it comes to UVB bulbs, there are a few different types to check out and consider. First off, there are two ratings when it comes to UVB bulbs. There's a 5.0, which is more of your forest type, your deep dwelling forest types, like redfoot tortoises, or a 10.0 bulb, your higher output bulbs, which is more of your bearded dragon, sulcata tortoise, more desert type tortoises. Also guys, when it comes to styles of bulbs, there's a couple of those too. You have a T8 and a T5 bulb, meaning that those bulbs have different diameters. They're require different fixtures. So you want to keep an eye on what you're using currently when you go to swap new bulbs out, because remember, UVB bulbs do have a 6-month on average lifespan. There are also these little screw-in bulbs that have the little spiral style fluorescent bulbs. Those are garbage. Don't get those. The reason being is they provide a super high output of UVB in a very concentrated small spot. Now you can also get a mercury vapor bulb that has basking and UVB combination in those. And those are great for, again, that sort of spot area, but that's more of a cone output. The problem with those is when the UVB no longer has that output at the 6-month mark, you also have to replace that bulb because it's a basking bulb and UVB combination, where if it was just a basking bulb, it would still be okay. Are you confused yet? That's okay. This stuff takes time to learn, guys, and that's what I'm here to help you with. If you want me to do a full video on just lighting, I can do that, an entire video on everything you need to know about lighting. Anyway, guys, that's what you need to know here. It is fiction. There are many types of UVB bulbs. Let's get back to the video. See how that works, guys? The water gets deflected on the bag, and then it just fills up naturally. Now there's going to be a little bit of displacement, but not nearly as much as if you didn't have that bag in place. What's going to be left here is a nice crystal clear water that you can put your turtles in right away. We're going to let this fill up here. And I'll show you guys when it's all nice and full. Alright guys, we are just about full, and just like that you have nice crystal clear water here that's not all foggy. This bag trick saves you really well from having that foggy water. Not to mention, guys, I really want to say something here real quick. The water that we're using here is from a reverse osmosis system, so it's really imperative that you use clean filtered water, especially for applications like this. Alright, I'm going to shut the water off and we'll proceed to the next step. Okay guys, now that we're doing our enclosure upgrade, it's also time to do a filter upgrade. So previously we were using these air pod filters, and air would come through here, create a vacuum, and it would suck in the sediment in these little pieces of foam here. And they do okay for a smaller application like we were doing. But for this larger 50-gallon, it's now time to upgrade to a canister filter like this one here. Now this one's okay for this size. When you start getting into the 300 gallons, you want those big, tall canister filters. But unfortunately, for the level of water that we have in this one, those ones just won't work quite yet for what we're doing. So we're going to upgrade to this one here, which is an Exoterra Turtle Filter FX200. Guys, take a look right there. And we're going to be setting this up, and then also get creative with one of the outlet hoses to look like a waterfall. It'll help aerate the water, and I think it'd be a really cool aesthetic feature, along with setting up the rest of the enclosure, which we're going to do. One more quick tip here. Before you guys put your filter in place, you got to make sure that you fill it with water first, because if you don't prime your pump, this whole cavity has to fill up with water prior to it actually getting water to the pump, which keeps that pump cool. So that water does two things. It keeps that pump cool, and it gets the hydraulics of the water system to go through the filter like this. So it's always good to pre-fill your water reservoir of your pump prior to turning it on. Alright, so this is the basic layout that I was thinking of. Obviously I'm going to add some more stuff here, and you'll see the final result in just a minute. But we have this really nice basking spot for them that worked out quite well with the rocks. And then we got the tank heater over there, which I got to make not so eyesore and obvious over there. We have the inlet hose right there for the filter. And then we got this kind of hidden water feature here. I'm hoping that this kind of fans off this and trickles down over the top. I'm hoping that the water pressure isn't so high that it just shoots out over the top of this anyway. But it's kind of a unique way to hide the filter, which is in the back. But you guys got to remember, you got to be able to access and service that filter that's back there, because they do get dirty. So the next step in our process here, I'm going to get the pump turned on, I'm going to get our heater turned on, and then I'm going to start putting in the rest of the aesthetics. And then finally, guys, we're going to introduce the pink bellies into their new enclosure. Alright guys, with anything you do, there's always going to be some unexpected results. That pump that we tried using is an older pump. I've actually had it for quite a few years, and I just couldn't get it to prime. So what we're going to do is actually use the old filtration system until I can get a new one, which will probably be tomorrow. So I'll give you guys an update video with the new pump installed. But for now, we have to have some sort of filtration in place. So we're going to put the aeration stones back in with those little sponge filters. So let me show you what we have here. Now, this is the semi-final result. We have the two aeration pumps. That one just doesn't do a very good job. I don't know why. That one there. But, you know, it's temporary. The heater's going over there. They got lots of sight barriers, a lot of areas to call their own. I imagine they're going to be hiding underneath those two rocks right there, which will be safe. And then also, a cool feature here. This rock is hollow, or this log thing, this fake log is hollow, so they can actually slide up in there and hide as well. So they have a few options. Alright guys, now the last thing we need to do is put the turtles in there, but it's time to do the Under the Shell segment, where I answer one of your questions right here on Third Coast Reptile. Got questions? Then get your answer right here on Under the Shell. Alright guys, for today's Under the Shell question, this comes from Sassy Girl. And Sassy Girl asks, is there any way to prevent pyramiding altogether, like perfect smooth shell all the way to adulthood? And the answer to that is no, not really. You got to understand what contributes to pyramiding. Yes, there are ways to reduce it, but to eliminate it 100%, I doubt it. Oftentimes, wild tortoises that have these really smooth, really clean shells are because they're actually grinding them against branches and rocks and other things that they naturally would incur in the wild. Not to mention that they have the perfect humidity and heat and UVB because they're in their natural habitats. We're trying to mimic that the best we can here in captivity, and it only goes so far. Yeah, you're going to get some sort of pyramiding, but it's not going to be so severe that people get so hung up on these little bumps on their tortoises, and that's okay. What you don't want are these large extremities of these towering pyramids on top of the tortoise that would affect their mobility and breathing and leading to metabolic bone disease. By the way, pyramiding is reversible if you get like a rehome situation, or you're rescuing one that has a lot of pyramiding. You can actually help it reverse it. A lot of these diets that you give your tortoises also contribute to this too. Things like high protein and really high fast growth rates are contributing factors to this pyramiding as well. I've also noticed that some tortoises tend to pyramid easier than others. Sulcatas being one because they're a fast-growing tortoise, and also leopard tortoises have that sort of naturalistic dome shape to their shells. So don't be too discouraged if you have a little bit of pyramiding, but understand that there are factors that do contribute to pyramiding, and there's ways to reduce the amount but not eliminate it. Good question, guys. If you want your question answered here on the channel, you can do so in one of three ways. Number one, you can get your answer right here in the comment section of this video. Number two, you can go to the Third Coast Reptile YouTube comment section and ask your question there in the community chat, or simply go to the Third Coast Reptile Facebook page and ask your question there. All right, guys, let's get back to it. They're all in here. Here's one hiding there. There's 2, 3, and then right here is 4. That's all 4 hanging out in here. This will do them a little bit longer for space. And like I said, I'm going to get rid of these really small filters now for this big of an area. They're going to need at least an in-tank pump, let alone a canister filter. But you can't always predict the future here and what's going to work and what's not going to work. We do our best, though. We do our best. So they're doing really well in here. The water is a little chilly, but it'll warm up for them relatively quickly. So I'm going to leave the basking light on for them overnight, so it warms up the area as well. And yeah, this is the final product. Definitely not their forever home. I'm thinking that they're going to get a Linda size enclosure, a 300 gallon, for when they get to be adults. Remember, pink belly side necks get to be about 10 inches each, so they're going to need quite a bit of space. They're getting acclimated here. So cool. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And you guys know the drill. Until next time, bye now.